What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video I'm going to be sharing with you my live trades that I took today, and we're going to break down the analysis of the trading range according to price action. But first I'm going to let this guy talk. What's going on, guys? The market's going to open in 1 hour, and the structure for today is a clear trading range. We're going to be day trading using a simple price action. We're not going to be relying on any indicators. We're just going to be following the bars as they are printing on the chart. And when the structure is trading range, what you need to understand that you have to follow shortened trend lines. You need to draw the trend line so you can follow the trend line rules correctly. They will keep you on the right side of the market. There's a push down and quite a big downtrend at this point on, and there was a break and a new low for the downtrend was formed, and a lot of times mean that the trend is over. And this is a trading range, so when the structure is trading range, you want to buy low and sell high. You cannot get lured in following the common sense, continue selling once the downtrend is down. As you guys can see, we right now have fell breakout situation, but this was right after the news opened, so I'm still sitting patiently here because you want to let the news play out a little bit. You just want to skip trading like 10 minutes before and after. But I'm going to be looking for buying the breakout to the downside, because most breakouts or trading ranges will fail. All right, guys, I'm resuming the video. I'm preparing my limit order because right now the market is giving me a lot of signs that we're pushing higher, and I'm actually going to treat it a little bit differently. I'm going to put my limit order in here and get filled right once we engulf this prior bar, because since this is a filled breakout, there's such a higher likelihood we may break higher that I'm going to get filled right here. I'm going to put my limit order, my stop loss right before, like right below, 1 tick below this signal bar right here. I'm going to go for 8 ticks only. I'm going to move my runner somewhere around here. You guys can see I'm scalping for running 1 contract in case something unexpected happens. Okay, this is just a swing trade in case market goes into these highs of a trading range, because that's how market likes to do this a lot of times. When you're coming from the failed breakout, a lot of times it will generate strong momentum to keep going in the opposite direction. Now we still haven't triggered above this bar, but I liked how we engulfed, how we triggered lower and continue working hard and engulf this bar. I very rarely enter like this, and this is very advanced. I don't recommend entering like this, but when you read the context perfectly, when there's a break 2 legs to the new extreme, you can actually take this along right here. And you guys can see we're very close to getting filled. We need a few more ticks here, and we're bouncing over our exit order, and we got out. So perfect first easy trade for the day. You guys can see break of a downtrend right here. I'm just going to show you. And a trend line rule says after price will break the trend line, traders will attempt to create a new extreme. And since this is clearly a trading range, we want to fade the lows. Okay, so the way I'm going to play right now, I'm going to, as we are bouncing a little bit lower, I'm going to hold my runner, and I'm expecting this runner to go all the way up to here, because failed breakouts, like I keep mentioning this, a lot of times will generate a lot of power to go in the opposite direction. Just like you had a little failed breakout here, look what happened. Market completely sold after down. Okay, so when you're fading these breakouts, you have to hold the runner, you have to scale out, you have to be smart. Okay, you want to take the partial profit, take the scalp, so you reinforce the mindset that you're a consistently profitable trader, and let your 1 contract run in case market just takes off and goes in your direction. We're struggling a little bit, so we may get stopped out. There's anything can happen. There can be a lower high situation or failed second entry short, but this was a 2-legged move down to new extreme. You're below this support, and trading ranges are so reliable. Those failed breakouts will work 90% over time. So, and we got stopped out, so no runner this time, but quick easy scalp on the first trade. So I'm gonna pause the video, and we're 1-0 so far, so I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Hopefully we get some good setup. Volatility seems great now. All right, the market opened 6 minutes ago, and I've been sitting patiently on my hand. Lows of the trading range still held the support. This important key level is still holding price fairly nicely. You guys can see this is a congestion. There's a failed breakout out of this congestion to the downside, failed breakout to the upside, and another failed breakout to the downside. Most breakouts of bigger trading ranges will fail, and off of these tiny trading ranges will fail as well. But it looks like the support is holding nicely. We may actually get some bullish momentum. I'm still waiting patiently because I don't like how we didn't really rally up higher from these lows. We were supposed to push really strongly to the upside. You guys can see another failed breakout to the downside right now. So I'm still being patient right now. There was another failed breakout actually, which stopped out my runner and then worked, and price pushed strongly above EMA, and there was a higher low setup, but price was too congested, a lot of stims, and there was a first entry short, second entry short failure. But by that time, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars going sideways, and then the congestion formed. So I'm just sitting patiently. EMA is really flat now. and it looks like there may be a smaller trading range inside of this bigger trading range. So you guys can see how strong the support is. After price pushed below EMA, we would be expecting for it to make its way all the way down to this key level, but it didn't happen and strong bullish bar formed, indicating weak bearish momentum. Also, this bar is right now a high low of this failed breakout. Remember, we're coming from the lows, we're coming from the failed breakout. This was a clear trading range, and this is why I strongly advocate for holding the runners during the failed breakouts. Now, in this instances, all of these breakouts worked for scalp, but they came back for the break-even runners, and you guys can see what it generated. The trading ranges, they work so reliably that you have to hold the runners once you're fading the breakouts. They will generate strong momentum in the opposite direction and make its way all the way to the other side of the trading range. Now, since this was a failed breakout and strong bullish momentum push up and created a higher low, this serves for you to set up the trend line, and this is why we're looking for the bullish trend line, because the overall momentum is up. We're coming from failed breakout. Now, this is just a first entry, and a high probability setup is a second entry to like a pullback. So this is now new high, first entry long, little pullback, second entry long, third confirmation confirming bullish trend line. Also, second entry short is a two-legged pullback, but in the wrong direction. So this is new low, first entry short, second entry short. You get combination of two high probability setups working on your side, on your favor. And market took off working higher. Now, when I was watching this personally, I was still respecting the overall choppiness and consolidation. I didn't take this long, but you guys can see you have a first entry long, second entry long, nice bullish bar. I think this is a little bit aggressive because you're not touching the EMA and you're going long directly into this double top, but the overall trend is up. And when the overall trend is up, your first target is once again all the way up to here. This is what the failed breakout will generate a lot of times. So you're just focusing on this key entry point. You're just focusing on this trend line, and there's a new extreme, and you're doing the same thing all the way you've done so far. And this is the only first entry long. I didn't mark this setup, even though it's off two key entry points. This is just a first entry. This is not the high probability setup. The thing here is you got this downtrend working lower, and you want to draw the trend lines even for the shorter term corrections. You got this downtrend working lower, and you don't have a break in new low. But take a look, there is an overshoot, and this can add a little bit, strength to our momentum that you will make the scalp probably to the other side. So even though it's just a first entry, I can see taking this setup, but I respect the downtrend, but with the overshoot, this is really a stronger entry. Market kept working higher and kept working higher, so you know that this is going to be a strong trend and you're going to reach the highs of the trading range. This is how trading range acts. So you're just not picking top while the market is during this momentum phase. There's the new extreme, and you're counting from the highs at the same time. You're looking for second entry longs, new high, first entry long. You're confirming two key entry points. This is where all the magic happens. But once again, only a first entry. There is now a downtrend working lower without overshoot, so there is no high probability entry here. A market created a double top, and double tops micro reset the count, and you have a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long, confirming two key entry points, and then market gave you higher low setup. What's going on, guys? I'm preparing my limit order as we have a higher low setup here. Let me see if I can get quickly filled here. I might not even get filled here. Let me see, we're already 3 or 4 ticks. I don't want to chase this. Let's see here. And I'm filled. So I'm going to tighten my stop loss 1 tick below these swings. I'm going to go for, let me move the resistance, for 8 ticks. Keep my runner somewhere around here. And what I'm looking at, as I'm looking extremely strong uptrend here, and now we have kind of like a two-legged pullback to two key entry points. The body is quite away from EMA, so it is a little bit risky, and it's starting to get a little bit congested. But I like taking a chance here because it looks like a two-legged pullback to two key entry points. I'm looking at this trend line, and there, if you draw this trend line a little bit tighter, it looks like there is a break and a new extreme. But since we keep making new highs and we keep making new highs, I adjusted it a little bit like this. You guys can see we keep making new highs, we keep making new highs. So I think this is valid. And yeah, right now we are halfway and getting filled here. I'm wondering if we can get to this resistance safely. I will actually go for 1 tick lower because this congestion is at the very highs, and a lot of times these congestions will prevent you from scalping out. But let's see. This would be my second trade. I don't like how we didn't push it higher through this a little minor resistance. You guys can see there's a lot of rejection here, and we basically made our scalp here. Yeah, this doesn't look great here. Let's see. Alright guys, and we are one tick away from getting filled. We're bouncing twice off my exit order, but you need to tick through. You need to tick through the limit order. Come on. And we got filled. We're actually pushing higher. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move my runner somewhere around here, but we're most likely not going to get the runner because this is how trading range acts. The resistance will put up some resistance, the support will hold. But you guys can see, since you have a little break here, but you keep making new highs, and new highs, you can adjust the trend line a little bit, but this is a two-legged pullback on a slightly larger scale. And two key entry points are holding. EMA is holding and the trend line is holding. So there's a new extreme first entry long pullback, a second entry long, but you guys can see a little gap between the EMA and the body of this trend line. So I waited a little bit. We needed to trap a few more bears and then higher low formed, confirming the key entry points. And this is where all the magic happens. This is all the trading you do. You know, you don't want to be taking these first entries even though they work. In such a strong uptrend, you're probably heading to this upper side, so you know you're looking for longs. But if you really wait for two-legged pullback at the key entry points, that's the high probability setup. And also take a look, all of these moves right here, they have the shortened downtrend, but there is no new low. Okay, here you have a break, attempt to create a new extreme. So this is why I really like this trade. So I gave the bears a chance to correct, and thus making this entry much safer. But they may get our runner because right now this is a, you know, this is a congestion here a little bit. So no surprise here. So two trades right now. I was sitting on my hands patiently throughout this entire move because this was a great entry. There was a first entry short, second entry short. You guys can see the lows are forming, and this is how you trade trading ranges. You cannot go short directly into these lows because the structure was clearly arranged. Move down, move up, move down, move up. This is how you play trading ranges. So I'm going to pause the video, let you guys see another set. Which, if you enter on the second entry long, your stop loss would still have survived because you have to put the stop loss one tick below the signal bar. And you're confirming three key entry points at this point on. And this was quick, easy scalp. Now, you're bouncing off the resistance. So you're expecting for the same thing to happen here, to happen right here. But this trend line didn't have a break yet. So there's push lower, and you first would be expecting a new high to be formed. This is the new high. First entry long, pullback, second entry long, failure. Now, I didn't take this trade when I was watching it live because I was still expecting for price to make one more push higher to attempt to create a new extreme for this overall uptrend and following trendline rules. But since you push below EMA and you reverse basically in one bar, you ticked higher and instantly reverse at the very last moment. That's one of those momentum trap bars that's really tempting to take. So this is a failed second entry long below EMA momentum bar. And after that, market consolidated. You guys can see that there's a wedge pattern working sideways, which means indecision, and it is tempting to go long and short at the same time. And when you feel like this, you have to not take an entry because it's a gambling game at this point on. It can go 50-50 either way. So you're just sitting patiently. You're not taking any trades. EMA completely flat. You know, bars are stacking up. And even though it is tempting to take a few of these shorts, we traded up into this trading range. We may, you know, break higher. I don't recommend taking any trades. Market broke lower. And this is a trading range. And if you guys take a look, major trading ranges have failed breakouts. Micro trading ranges have failed breakouts. And this is a trading range. There was a failed breakout as well. This signal bar is gigantic. You already made it way it's back. So this is not a safe breakout to take. Had the signal bar been smaller, this would have been a great situation to take the failed breakout. So once again, you're skipping the unsure trades and you're playing the trading ranges, the bigger pattern overall. But since we're going sideways so long, it is safe to take this entry. But market continue pushing lower once again, and this is already indicating something is wrong if you're looking to buy, because this failed breakout should have generated some momentum and we were supposed to be rallying up higher from this point on. But it didn't happen, which means that this little failed breakout is generating momentum. We're heading in the opposite direction, and there's only a first entry short. And when I was watching this live, I had this trend line at the time, and I was expecting and hoping for second entry short to form, because this is only a hidden second entry. You guys can see push higher, bearish momentum, but there's no trigger lower and move higher. So it's just technically a first entry, and I was hoping for price to break lower, give me a lower high, and then to go short. It didn't happen. Market already pushed way too down. Lower high is way too down. You would have to enter below this bearish bar, so you have to skip this trade. But then this is the new extreme, and remember, you're taking first entry, you're taking second entry longs with the direction of a trend, and you're taking failed second entry shorts. You're doing the same thing while the downtrend is forming. Just you're taking second entry shorts, or you're taking failed second entry long. There's a first entry long, second entry long, failure. As the market kept overshooting and overshooting, this is where you have to look for bigger pattern, because one overshoot is okay. Once you keep overshooting it multiple times lower to the downside, there's a different, slightly larger pattern, and you have to adapt. And you guys can see there's a bounce off this important key level. Market created enough momentum, gave you only first entry short, and then took off lower. But right now this is a strong downtrend, and you don't want to keep selling at this strong downtrend, because the downtrend hasn't played out. Like here, there's a break, 2 legs to new extreme, and this is way too steep and tight. This is a wider downtrend, starting to pick up momentum. So you're sticking with the trend. You're not looking for longs now, because this is now a strong bearish imbalance, and we can look at it that way. And as the market keeps pushing lower, once again, you're not looking to sell at these lows. Those you can get burned. You're not taking first entries. You want to wait for high probability setup, and there's a first entry short, push higher, a second entry short. This bar is way too big, unenterable. I only marked it had the signal bar a bit smaller, because once again you close below EMA and below trend line. So there are two key entry points here confirming the bearish momentum, and now you're way too low. Once you're breaking way below the important key level, that's a good sign that you don't want to be fading the breakouts. Okay, and market get pushing lower, and there is actually a new low and first entry short, a second entry short reversal pattern. But this is overall bigger downtrend, and it's too early to reverse. Even though you have a break and new low for this downtrend working lower, there is overall structure, bigger downtrend, and you want to let the price action play out. You don't want to just keep picking longs inside of such a strong downtrend. And market pushed below EMA, confirming bearish momentum once again. And once again, there's a new low, new high, first entry long, pullback, a second entry long, failure. But once again, you're at the very low of the move, and you don't want to short very low, almost very low of the day. So it is better to skip this. And you're once again looking for the second entry shorts with the trend, and there is nothing like that. There's new low, first entry short only, new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short, finally two-legged pullback, uptrend played out with the break, new extreme, EMA is holding, micro double top. So the key here is not to get flustered by watching this market go lower and lower without you. Just because there are first entries, that don't mean that you're going to pull the trigger, even though first entries at this point on off EMA are starting to be very safe. If you want to stack your odds on your side, just keep taking the second entries. They are there, like this entry, and you guys can see the EMA is pointing down. We cannot even close above it. There was a lower high setup. You're going long short at the directly low of the day. Market get pushing lower, new low, first entry short, new low, first entry short. This looks tempting. This looks like a two-legged move. So I'm going to mark it with an aggressive entry, because this on a larger scale, this is a second entry short. But since this low ticked lower, this is only a first entry. But an experienced trader can see those two legs. And then you have another overshoot. And you guys can see what overshoot does. It generates strong momentum in the opposite direction. Okay, so you have to draw your short-term trend lines, follow them correctly. Let the correction play out. Maybe wait for price to get all the way up to here. Or let price to give you a failed second entry long below EMA to show you the confirmation of the bullish momentum. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up. Take care, buddy. What's going on, guys? I'm resuming the video as I'm about to take this lower high setup. Okay, we got filled, so I'm going to go for 8 ticks, move my stop target profit, the runner all the way down to these lows, and we are halfway in getting filled. We are one point. Let me see. We are pulling back. There is an EMA here holding price, but this has been such a strong downtrend that I'm really willing to take a chance here. Let's see how this bar ends. Come on. We're getting some rejection here. We're a few ticks from getting filled. Come on. This is going to be my last trade. I was about to be done for the day. Took 2 trades. And we are right now. Hold on. Alright, I'm resuming the video. I took a little break here because I didn't want the video to get too long, but and we got filled. Let's go. I'm gonna move my runner somewhere around here, and I wasn't prepared to take a trade. I was actually preparing a video right now to make the overall analysis for the day. But as I saw this gigantic downtrend, you pretty much have to take advantage of this. And you guys can see there's a little overshoot, but since take a look at this downtrend, how many points this is? Let me take the ruler right here. This is 51 points. Okay, so this is extremely strong downtrend. So even there's a little overshoot right here, I really played the bearish strong downtrend, and there was a lower high setup. This was a lower high set. I didn't plan to record this, so this was my last trade, 3rd trade for the day. You guys can see they got our runner because the overshoot may probably act well. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna add this to my final video, and I'm gonna see you guys next time. Take care, bye.